This conference will now be recorded.
Hi everyone. So we have successfully completed the simple framework using different libraries like Log4j and getting the video out of it, of the execution, and creating different object repository and creating reusable functions for the application and creating configuration or environment related variables and reading the data from external sources. And we have also created some of the files which can get the browser dynamically because we need to do cross-browser testing. So we need to send a parameter name like browser, like Chrome, then it automatically should launch Chrome browser. And we also created a file called constant so that if there is anything which is static, so that we'll keep it here and it won't be changed. And finally, for the test statistics like number of test cases passed, failed, skipped, we have used test reports so that it gives beautiful metrics to the stakeholders. And I have already shown you a design pattern where it is successfully divided into multiple pages. And I've shown with page factory and without page factory. The beauty is readability, reusability, and modular. And finally, I have also shown you assertions because a test without a validation is not a test. So we need to make different assertions. So if you want to, if someone want to ask you, if someone asks you to create a simple framework, you can create these things as part of your framework and by using some of the other tools like Maven and TestNG. And during the creation, I have used these kind of unit testing frameworks like TestNG and Maven, which is a software project management tool. So this is how a simple framework can be created. However, I can like to show some complex framework and with integration of different tools in real time. The reason is with this simple framework, you can still maintain the framework, but every time when you create a framework, it should be integrated with multiple tools. A framework should be flexible enough to integrate with multiple things. So some of the things which I've already told there, I'll be using it, and I'll be using few more tools as part of it. So some of the things like assertions I'll be using, Maven TestNG I'll be using, page object model design pattern I'll be using, test reports, constants. Most of them I'll be using them. Like we won't be using application reusable functions and object repository because when we say page object model design pattern, every page application is divided into pages and every page will be containing the locators and the methods. So these two concepts will be eliminated. Rest all like logging, which is beautifully used for root cause analysis, and video execution, we can see the entire video execution. So some of these we can still use in our advanced framework. In addition, we'll also integrate so many other tools. Okay, so with that, we completed the simple framework, advanced framework. So that's like the baby steps in framework. You can create it there. Some of the things of simple framework we can use as part of our advanced framework strategies. Okay, so the first tool which I would like to introduce is Bitbucket. Bitbucket is kind of a storage place, and we can create repository. When I say repository, you'll get a doubt. Hey, what is repository? Repository, it is a place where we can share, we can place our code, we can place and share our code base. For example, Rakesh is a person who is working on the project. Okay, so when I say team, it's not one individual, right? It will be a team members, like 3 to 4 members. So what they basically do is those three members will take the code base if it is existing, or else if they will create a code base, and they will start working on it. Like first guy will work on the class 1, second guy will work on the test script 2. So they will merge the code. So the first guy will see the code of the second guy, and even the second guy can see the code of the first guy. And sometimes both need to work in the same file also. So in this way, these all tools are called as version control systems. And why this is called version control system? Because we create different codes, even not QS, right? Developers create codes. They'll be sending it to the production. There are a number of concepts like branches, like there will be a master branch, dev branch. So I'll explain in detail slowly. If I tell like that, it will be like a bush, right? So for now, repository means it's a place where everyone can place and share their code base, so that everyone can have access to the code. Everyone will have access. Everyone will have access to the code. We generally develop the test scripts and push to the repository. The only reason is, even if your system fails or crashes, we still have code stored in the repo. What does that sentence mean? That sentence mean, even if you have some code which is there in your system, and all of a sudden something happened to your system, like it's crashed, but still fine, whatever the code you placed in the repo will be there, because that is stored in a separate system or separate machine or separate space. Okay, that's the reason we created version control systems. And Bitbucket is one of the client. So there are a number of clients like GitHub, GitLab, so a number of tools which are there, we can do it. So you will be generally hearing two types of repos: public repos, private repos. When I say public, any idea what is meant by public in general?
Can be accessed by everyone.
So everyone can access it, right? Anyone can access it. But when I say private, it's like permission based. That means I will give permissions to certain users. Those users only can access those repos or commit those repos. Some users, they will be giving like weave access. Like when we are discussing Jenkins, I told you something like role-based strategy, right? Generally it happens, but it will be all taken care by some administrators. They will be maintaining it in the companies, but generally if you guys also still want to create it, so there will be public and private repositories. So if this Bitbucket or GitHub, GitLab, we can create public and private repositories. The only reason private repositories, they will cost little bit more. Okay, that's the only reason. But if team size is pretty much less, they will not charge for you. Even Bitbucket is not charging for 5 users, less than 5 users team, I believe. Okay, this is how private but there is no other difference between repository creation or code committing or code sharing. For that purpose, there is no difference of public and private. The only difference is public means it can be viewed by everyone. Private means it will be permission based as per the email IDs. That's the only difference, but there is no other difference. And now coming to the branches. So what is these kind of branches? So in general, people will create raster and develop these kind of branches. The only reason why they create branches, because let me ask you a story. For example, there is a room. Okay, in that room I have 5 apples. and I've placed a pet inside the room. Will the 5 apples still be there? Like the same way you placed? The pet might eat something, right? So even when we are developing also, we might also do some mistakes in the code. So that's why we need to maintain different versions of branches. Whatever the stable code will be there in the master branch. And we keep on developing the features. Whenever we feel this is stable here, again we'll merge back to the master branch. We'll merge back to master. So this is how exactly the real-time projects happens. Okay, that's why I already told you that Selenium training means it's not only about Selenium. While you are joining a job, so many tools, so many integrations comes into picture. So that's why I made this training to go very near to the real-time thing. Okay, so on a holistic approach, every company will have private repositories. The only reason is permission based, and they will have multiple branches. So initially they will develop in develop branch. Develop means you can create any name. You can keep your name for the branch also, but you just need to keep meaningful names, like develop branch is for developers, test branch is for testers. Like that, you need to keep meaningful names. And once we feel like the code is good, then we'll move to the master branch. Why we are moving, we'll get a doubt. Why we are moving the stable code to master? Because the production environment which is running should be stable, right? That's why whatever the stable will go to master, and the production environment like www.google.com, that is the production environment which will be using the master code. Okay, and just let me know if you have any questions up to now. So up to now, what you want to know is, okay, in real time there is something called repositories. Generally repositories in old times I have used SVN based repository, but the reason why they are not using is that is in local system. If that local system crashes, everything is gone. That's why they introduced Git. Git is a distributed system. That means everywhere it is, every person's laptop it is there. Even one system fails, we can still get from other repos. Okay, that is repository where we place the code, share the code for different persons. Then I understood, I know that there is two types of repos, public and private. Like public means everyone can see it, private means only permissioned persons, that means specific persons only can do any operation. Then I understood, like, okay, in repos we can create multiple branches like stable code and working code, so we can create multiple things. So this is all about repositories, branches, and these things. And the version control system will use is Git. And so many people will say Git and GitHub is same. Git is different. Git is a version control system, whereas GitHub is one of the client. Like Bitbucket is one of the client. Generally companies nowadays are using Bitbucket. Bitbucket is one of the client. GitHub is one of the client, and GitLab also is one of the client. Okay. When I say manipulate different operations, I will say what are those different operations. But please see for a minute up to here so that I can go to the next steps. Please see this for a minute. See these things for a minute.
This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, up to now we have seen the theory part of deciding the repos, branches, and different clients where we can store the repo. And when I say operations, there are some certain operations which are there. But before going to do that, let's go with the installation kind of stuff. Like, let's configure our Bitbucket. And let's create a repo also. Configure Bitbucket and create Git repo, because there are so many reports like Mercurial, long back people are using it. But nowadays, everyone, if you ask, they'll be using almost all, they're using Git repo only. Okay. Like 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10 people will say I'm using Git version control system. Okay. But this is a good interview question. Don't say Git and GitHub are same. Git is a version control system where we maintain different versions of our code with the branches. And there are some certain really, if you go dig into DevOps, there is something called release tags. Okay, so they will cut the branches in the sense they'll take partial code. Cut in the sense they'll not get some axe and cut it. So in software, cut the branch in the sense they'll take different release branch. They'll take from master, they'll take some code from there, remove some of the features, and again they'll tag it as release 1.0 branch. So then they will send it to production. As I told you, there are multiple environments like devs, test, stage, production. So every individual branches will be pointing like dev.google.com, test.google.com, stage.google.com, finally www.google.com. So likewise, different branches will have different URLs. Different URLs will have code associated to it. Okay, let's go ahead and configure Bitbucket and create a sample Git and push our code if we have something. So first, let me go ahead and click on Google Chrome, and you can go to Bitbucket. If you just type Bitbucket in Google also, still it works. You can see the ad is also there. That means it is pretty much popular. So can click on it. So almost I have seen seven out of 10 companies are using Bitbucket nowadays. So there are some other things also there. Microsoft acquired GitHub. This is by Atlassian. There are some tools like Jira, Confluence, which are there for documentation, Jira for project management and defect management tools. Likewise, Atlassian is the company which owns this Bitbucket product also. Okay, on a high level, if you see, traditionally, I told you, right, master branch. I will tell you, this is one branch. Okay, some people will make, if it is a bug fix, they'll create a bug fix and push it. But even in real time, directly they won't push it to master. First they will push it to develop branch, then from develop they will push it to master. But anyways, I will try to explain you my best creating these things as part of it. You can see I told you about public private repositories, right? You can see private repositories, but this is only for small teams, folks. You can see under 5, but if you are scaling up, you can't create, you need to pay for them. Okay, there are some CI/CD pipeline systems and all, that's fine, but as of now we'll see what are the things which are required for us. Okay, so if someone asks Bitbucket, it's a place where we can store the code. You can see the workflows, everything. Generally in regular companies, if they are able to afford, there will be a configuration engineer or a DevOps person will be doing all this stuff. But pushing and all will be done, pushing code development will be done by us, like workflows, continuous integration pipelines and all will be done by them. But if company is pretty much small, you need to learn on your own. Okay, so as usual, every website will be having login. I don't want to go much deeper into it because we need to learn what's the use of it and how we are going to get benefit out of it. So the good benefit we got from up to now is we can create repositories and we can store the code and we can get some operations which I'm going to describe for you. Okay, so now I'm going to click on login. So we need to sign up for it because we don't have any login there. So I clicked on that. So now here I'm going to log in with my Google account. So I'm going to click on Google, clicking on continue with Google.
This
So
conference will
I'm
now
going
be
to
recorded.
do with one of my Google accounts. So I'm going to select one Google account from there. You can create your credentials, but it's always go with our existing one. So I would like to give my name. So by name is automatically taken care by the email. And I would like to click on create your account. So you can see that you currently logged with it. The only reason is you logged in with your Gmail account. That's why you are able to log in. You are currently logged in account, but you haven't signed up with Bitbucket Cloud with that account. Okay, so there is sign up for Bitbucket Cloud.
This one, okay.
Clicking on it. Yes, clicking on it. And now we need to give some username. I would like to choose some username. So we need to choose unique username. I would like to give the same name as my email with that without domain. And I'm going to click on without domain. I'm going to remove, yeah. So now I'm going to click on continue because this is just an username. We need to remember the username. And now it is going to ask you like workspaces are coming soon. Okay, this is just their promotion. I'm going to click on dismiss. This is like our Eclipse workplaces. Like we'll be using different workspaces, right, to store our code. Okay, there are some things like what describes your experience with source code. I'm going to click on pick one. Then it says I'm advanced, I know enough Git, I have used source code controls. So as of now, I just say, hey, I just use some source code tools. And how many people do you think you'll work? I'll say 1 to 5, because if you go more than 5, they'll pay, they'll ask a price for it. And what best describes your role? I would like to say student. You can pick your own rule, other everything. What best describes how you will use learning it? As of now, just say learning it, but in real time, they'll be choosing development, all those things. And you can skip this basically. You don't want to enter everything, but I will just click on submit. So you can see whenever you logged into this account, now you have successfully logged into this account. You can see there is email ID associated to it. You can see your profile, everything. So you can just click on view profile, so that whatever the things which we'll be having, you'll be getting all these things. You can see it is saying, hey, there is no repositories. As I told you, public repositories can be accessed by everyone. Private means it will be only for you, or you can give some access. It is saying create a repository, or else if you have some repositories from other clients like GitHub, you can also import it. As of now, we don't have any repository with us now. I told you teams, right? Like you can also invite some people. Okay, settings means you can do some settings like creating keys like that. If you want to do private repositories, this is like SSH key. We need to add something like that. As of now, let's go with public one, since because we don't have any codes which are like secret with us, because companies create codes, they need to be secret. So that's why they will create, they'll use private. So I'm going to click on create repository, because right now I don't have any repository with me. Then I will say framework. I would like to create a sample repository. I would like to give a name for it called as framework. And access level, I don't want to give it as a private repository because I want to make it public for now. You can include a readme. The readme means, because basically readme means what is about the project. If someone want to see what is this project about, it's a kind of documentation. Okay, so just use readme with a tutorial, and there are some advanced settings. Let's see. You can describe your project. You can see what you can show, what is the language we are going to use. As of now, I'm just going to say create repository, but before going to that, let's type these things also. It's up to you. We need to give some information. It's not mandatory, these advanced settings. So I'm going to click on create repository. So what is our repository name? The repository name is framework. This is a framework. Once you create the repository, by default a readme.md file will be there. That means you can describe what is this project about. So this is source, and you can see by default there will be one branch called master branch, but we will be going ahead and creating multiple branches afterwards. And clicking on commits, you can see there is no commit, but we just created one repository, right? Whenever you want to see what is this commit, click on this commit ID. Every commit will have some commit ID. Commit means you push it to this. Okay, I will tell you some differences between commit, push, pull, everything, because these are all part of Git class. Okay, anyways, I will be telling about Git also here. I will be telling out what is pull request, all those things slowly. Okay, pull request means you will be sending from one branch to the other branch. Like I told you, develop branch, master branch, right? Suppose if you want to merge the code from one branch to the master branch or any branch, you'll be using this pull request one. And if you have more branches will be shown in the branches. Like this is the main branch, you can create multiple branches also here. Okay, now we need to learn about few operations. As I told you, manipulate operations. We successfully configured git repo, right? This is how we can configure. So what we have done, we went to the Bitbucket, logged into Bitbucket with my email ID, chosen an email, chosen my username, And finally, we have created a small repository. The repository is framework, and the language we have chosen is Java.
This conference will now be recorded.
So now this is how we can configure Bitbucket and create a sample repository. So that is done. First step is done. And now we need to learn few Git things. So the first step is you need to configure. That means you need to log in and log in, and then you chose an username. Then you created repo with name, and access level is like public private. If you just click the checkbox, it will be a private repo. So this is what you have done just to create a repository. Now you need to know about git vcs commands. In order to do those operations, you need to know some commands of git, basically, like git init. So every command starts with git. So there are some GUI graphical user interface tools like SourceTree and all, but I suggest you to go with command line tools first so that you can learn so many commands. Every command in Git starts with Git, not in capital letters like this Git. So the first command, whenever you want to initialize a repo. Before going to learn about commands, I want to tell one more thing. See, one by one, I'm getting more thoughts. I missed one thing here to say. Central repository, local repository. When I say central repository, the code which is placed in Bitbucket. In our case, Bitbucket, it can be GitHub or GitLab or any other thing. When I say central repository, that means whatever the code which we have placed in these kind of clients. In our case, it's Bitbucket. When I say local repository, the code which is placed in our local repo. Local repo means in our laptop. Consider this is the laptop, right? If you have the code in your laptop, if you see in our Eclipse, we have code. Let me see. Let me show you. Let me open Eclipse. Let me open Eclipse. So in Eclipse, whatever the code we are writing up to now, like we created projects and different things, right? So all these things will be like in our local. They are not in like somewhere. Okay. So the code which is there in that Bitbucket and all, we call it a central repository. That means it's in a server. Local repository means the code which is there on your laptop. Okay. So first step, what we need to do is we'll create a repo in our central environment. We just created the first step. Second step, we will initialize Git in our local repo by using the command git init. I will say the commands also in parallel. Once we initialize the Git in our local repo, a .git file will be created there. When we want to, not when, once we initialize it, we want to add the test script or related files, because when we are creating framework, we created resources, files, JSONs, testscript.java files. We created n number of files, right? So we need to add test scripts or related files by using the command git add dot. If you use git add dot, this is for you want to add all the files. Anyways, we are going to see these things in live. I'm just giving you theory part first. Add all the files. If you want to add single file, this is called as, normally we call staging, all those things, but as of now you say added to the staging area. So fourth one, once you added this, you need to commit the files. When I say commit, it's like, hey, I'm going to send this to my local repository, because you just have your code, you need to send to your local repository. So how to commit? So you need to use git space commit space, and if you want to send a message, there is a flag -m and a message. Why we are going to write messages? Because in real time it's like history. If you are adding a file, removing a file, or modifying a file, it's everything as a history log. So if someone want to know what happened exactly in this file, how they will get to know? They won't know. If we write some message, hey buddy, these are the 5 test scripts I'm adding, and these are related to this feature, and if you are fixing a bug, this is the bug number associated to it. Like that, if you mention something, if someone sees that request, generally in industry there is something called pull requests. Anyways, I'm going to show you. They'll review the code. Everyone, suppose I'm the person Rakesh and there is some other person B. If I'm writing the code, the person B will review my code. So if I write all these messages and all, so that even if person C comes into picture, like management comes into picture, they'll get to know what this guy is doing in this particular thing, why he is pushing, committing the code. Okay, so you need to commit the code by using this command like git commit -m and the message, and this is pushing towards our local repository. This is only committing to local repository. Local repo means the code which resides in your laptop only still. And now even if other persons are there, even if you commit, the other persons, that means other, when I say other persons, it's team, though they still don't know what's happening here. Only you only know, because it's local to you. Once you do this, you need to push to central repository. So the command to push the central repository is git push origin branch name. When I say branch name, it's master, develop, those kind of things. Okay, will you say git push origin branch? If you are pushing for the repo or to the repo for the first time, then you need to use a command git add remote and that remote name, remote URL. Why we need to do it for the first time? Because we are keep pushing, right? They need to know what is that, where I need to push, what is the server I need to push, right? So we need to add this for only one time before step number 5. Only one time before step number 5, because once you add it, our repositories know like where is your remote thing. Okay, once you push to it, it will prompt for once you push to central repository, it will ask for username and password. So you already set the username, password, like you already chose there, right? And the password will be Gmail in Google's in this case, because we have logged in with Google account. And once you give the valid credentials, it will be pushed to central repo. Once you push to central repo, that means this Bitbucket, where our central repository is residing, everyone can see. Suppose Rakesh is the person. If you want to take the persona, Rakesh will create a repo in central repository, and he will come to the local and he will say git init, and he will add the files to git add dot, and he will commit to the local repo git commit -m, and I will say added test scripts. And since it is the first time, I will use git add remote, that remote URL. And if I want to push to the which particular branch, I will say git push origin master. And finally, I will give the valid credentials. Now, once I push it to the central repository, the other persons in my team can see it. Until unless you are not sending to the central repository, anyone cannot see it. Only after this step, everyone in your team can see the code. Okay, so this is all about theory and the commands. The same commands will be doing in practical. Sometimes people will be configuring email IDs in their repositories and all. I will tell you all those things how to do it in our classes. Okay, so these are like simple steps. Anyways, I want to tell version control system commands. And there are some things. Once you push it to the central repository, right? This is all I have done, or you can say person A has done. Now a person B want to do something, right? He need to use some commands like git space clone space repository URL. You can see here that guy pushed it to some repository URL, right? So I'll show you where the repository URL will be there. You can get from there. I'll show you anyways once the repository URL is there. Okay, so he will use git space clone space that repository URL, and particularly if he want to get a branch, like there are multiple branches like develop branch, there is some command like git space checkout space that branch name. Okay, so this is how particularly they'll say git checkout develop, so that he will go to the develop branch again. And after that, he need to use some commands like git pull or git fetch. Okay, git pull or git fetch, the only difference is fetch means it will fetch from this remote URL all the changes to the local. Pull means it will get it and it will also merge with your local stuff. Okay, there is a slight difference. Basically, git pull or fetch will get the changes. Pull will merge the changes with your local stuff also. Okay, and you will use git pull and you start work on it and you again do the same thing, but you will start from step number 4 in this case. You will start from step number 4. The only reason you will start from step number 4 because already person A initialized. No, step number 2. Sorry. The only reason you will not do step number 1 because step number 1 and 1 and 2 because person already did it. From step number 3 you will do it because step person A already created an environment, already initialized it. You will again do just you are doing modifying those things, and also you'll do step number 3. Again you will add a files, again you will commit, again you push it. So that's how people, as I already told you, you'll keep sharing the futures where you can store it, manipulate using different operations. There are a number of git commands available. If you want to delete it, you can use git space rm says that file name. And if you want to see, there are some commands which you can personally practice, commands to practice. These are not regularly used, but it feel free to use them. Like status is the command to know, suppose you have some files but you haven't pushed it to local repository or anything, but you have changed it, to know the changes done. Like you have modified test script 1, modified test script 2. So this, if it says git space status, it will show what are the files modified. Okay, you can say git space log, it will show all the commits or all the logs, commit with commit histories. Every commit will have some unique ID. In our case, you can see the unique ID here. We have already, when we are creating, it has created a commit ID, right? So you can see this is like this, commit IDs will be generated. These are unique. You can see the date. So when I say git log, like this, commit IDs, all those things with the dates will come there. And there are some things like merge conflicts. If you want to see the difference between the files, very rarely it will happen, but sometimes it may happen. You need to resolve those conflicts. So you can use diff, all those things. Okay, these are some commands to practice. You can use rm command with force tag like -f to remove or delete the files. Anything you do, you need to commit and place it so that it will be there as part of the history. Tomorrow someone comes and say, hey, who deleted this file? There should be a track, right? So everything you do, you delete, you add, you modify, for everything there should be a commit, and it should be a proper explanation in real time. And there is a thing which we can revert the changes, but companies still want some explanation why this person deleted this specific file, okay, or modified this specific file. So these are some of the commands which are there. You need to practice. However, please see this for a minute. In order to do all these things, git commands and all, right, there are some graphical user interface tools like source tree and all, but I suggest you to go with command line tools because you are a beginner, you need to learn more stuff. So we'll install a command line client called git bash now. So Bitbucket is done. That is for central repository. So in order to do some operations from the side, we need to have a Git client, right? You can check this is a Git server. Bitbucket is a kind of Git server, right? Where you store the code. So now I'm going to install a command line popular tool called Git Bash. So I will just click on Git for Windows because I'm using Windows operating system as of now. And oh my God, this is not Git, I believe. Let's see. Git bash, git GUI. You can see this is what I'm exactly saying. Graphical user interface tools show like this, and they will show like typically this, but being a beginner, it's always here it will be like clicking on options like how will we do in Eclipse, right? Like clicking on project, right click, new class name. It's pretty much easy, but try to learn the command line tool. The only thing is whatever the operations you are doing on Git, for example, there is a commit button. If you click on that commit button, background it is doing the same thing, git space commit space -m. There they will give a sample box to write the commit message. You can see they will give a sample box to write a commit message, and they'll give a button. It's easy to do that, but background the same operations are doing. If you know command line, it's pretty much easy to use the graphical user interface. So I'm downloading the command line one. Welcome to bring Git SCM to Windows. So Git bash is there. Let me see this and say that one is same. Git for Windows, Git SCM. Oh, I believe this is the particular website which I'm looking for. So click on Windows. You can use any graphical user interface clients, but I would like to suggest to go with this command line tools. Okay, so I've successfully installed Git, so you can click on any other thing, both are same. So I'm clicking on it. So once we click on it, it will ask for some access permissions.
This conference will now be recorded.
As you can see, it is asking for permissions to install. You can read the complete license over there, and I'm going to click on install. So it will take some time to install because we are going to install this for the first time. And there will be some options which is coming up, like where to store the Git, and what are the advanced custom installs. Okay, whether to use Git in a command line, or do you want a graphical user interface, or you want to use Git like a Linux based system. Okay, there are a number of options coming up. So since you are installing Git if you are installing Git for the first time, it will be going to take a little bit longer time than expected.
This conference will now be recorded. This conference will now be recorded.
So it asks for whether you want icons like Git bash, Git GUI here. So I would like to click on some options like on the desktop. So you can click, I'm going to click on checkbox like on the desktop. And I'm going to click on the next button. So it will ask for editors and all. I'm going to click on next buttons. It is asking for Git bash. We want to use only one. I just want to click on next. I want to use on command line and also from third party. Clicking on next, this is just like security channels. Clicking on next, like a Windows style and Unix, both I want. Clicking on next. Clicking on next, I want to enable those credential managers, and I'm going to click on install. So once it is there, it will take some time to install on your computer. So if you are installing still on the first time, it will create all the registries, settings and all. So if you want to launch Git Bash, you can launch it, but I don't want to launch it now. So I'm going to uncheck that release notes also, because if you want to know the release checks, you want to do it. So I don't want to open and because we are going to open and do the necessary operations. So as of now, I'm clicking on next. And finally, that's it. If you are clicking on those checkboxes, it will be opening release notes or Git Bash there. So we have successfully installed Git Bash as of now. So in today's class, we have started this advanced kind of framework sessions. So through which we have seen one of the real-time tool called Bitbucket. I have explained about branches, repositories, version Git clients, and what is the difference between central and local repository. And I have also explained the workflow which the different persons pushes, pulls the project, checks out, adds, commits, shown some of the different commands in practice. And finally, we have configured the Bitbucket, created a repository, and we have also installed Git Bash, which is one of the Git clients in today's class. So in tomorrow's class,
This conference will now be recorded.
have a nice day, folks.